Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net, and it is Monday the 24th of August. Thanks again for watching. This is your look ahead video. And as you're now well aware, we're raising funds throughout August for Macmillan Cancer Support. If you've not given yet, then just go to justgiving.com/weatherweb, or you can donate by text, send WWEB99 and then the figure you want to donate. We put £10 here, but £20 would be super, even more would be even better. You just send that message to 70070. And the reason we do this is because weatherweb.net is completely free of charge, and you've used it for the past year, completely free of charge, so we just ask you to make a donation once a year to the charity. We're already up to almost £1,500, so if we can beat that figure, that would be superb. Much talk today, of course, about the Met Office losing the BBC weather contract as of October 2016. I'm just going to let the dust settle for a couple of days on it, really, before I make any comment through the videos here. But I'll put together a video when things have calmed down just a touch. You all already have seen a comment from me on the website on the musings, so go and have a look at that just for some initial thoughts. But I'll put together something more in the next day or so. I just didn't want to do it, particularly in the heat of the moment, particularly when there are lots of people upset by it. And the people I'm thinking of here are the guys and the girls who are involved with the contract and work at the BBC Weather Centre and at the Met Office. Not very pleasant time for them with jobs in question. So I certainly don't want to be saying anything shooting from the hip, as it were, without thinking through what I'm going to say. So I'll do that in a couple of days. But at the moment, we've got low pressure off towards the northwest of Ireland. We've got low pressure off towards the south of England. Great satellite picture here showing the front swirling around those areas of low pressure, bringing cloud and rain. This one brought the heavy rain across southern England today. In fact, some thunderstorms as well. This one brought the rain across eastern parts of Scotland. But of course, we're getting towards the end of summer. 1st of September officially is the meteorological start to autumn. And the 7 to 10 day means of the 500 millibar flow are taking us well into September now. This is the forecast for next Monday through to Thursday, the 3rd of September. We've got the ECMWF on the left here, we've got the GFS on the right, and actually there's quite a bit of difference between these two models. ECMWF try and make quite a bit of the bridge off Newfoundland there. GFS just not really seeing that at all. I should say the trough off Newfoundland. The GFS not seeing that at all. And you notice here the GFS making much more of the trough out in the Atlantic than the ECMWF is, which in fact tries to put a ridge in. So the models at the moment not in great agreement across the Atlantic, better across the Pacific, where we've got a trough to the west of the US, a ridge in mid-Pacific, and then another trough off the coast of China, but not that good agreement across Europe and across the Atlantic. Doesn't exactly bode well for our confidence in the forecasts when the models are acting like that. Although I've got my own mind a few ideas which I'll show you in just a second. Now, so far in August, this is how temperatures have looked. We've had the normal temperatures centred across Poland, across the Czech and Slovak republics here. And in fact, much of Eastern Europe, you can see here, has been above normal. Out towards the west, the UK, we're seeing temperatures slightly below normal in the western parts of the UK and through Ireland, and also across Portugal, Spain, and across western parts of France as well. Now, in the next 7 days, things are set to warm up once again across Europe. This is courtesy of what we've just seen on the GFS, a southwesterly flow pumping warm air into here again, bringing temperatures up across Central and Eastern Europe up above normal, whilst across the UK, generally temperatures are around about normal for the time of year. I will see unsettled weather really through the first part of this week. More fronts to come through, more outbreaks of rain, and it's the rain Wednesday, Thursday that I'm looking at, but also a little bit further. Let me just show you a couple of charts here. These from weatheronline.co.uk. It's the cluster analyses of the GFS model. So what this is where the GFS ensemble, which runs several different runs of its model, makes predictions, and then they're clustered together, so you get a percentage figure as to which member of the ensemble is going for which particular weather regime, and it's given a percentage figure. So here we have 35% of members. This, by the way, is the forecast valid for Wednesday, and 35% of members go for low pressure off towards the northwest. 30% again the low pressure position here, 20% low pressure here, 15% low pressure here. So fairly high confidence that there's going to be low pressure towards the northwest of the UK. However, what's interesting is to look at the precipitation figures on here too, because you notice here this is the front bringing rain across eastern parts of the country. Now, notice how each one of those is slightly different. This front going eastwards on Wednesday is one that we've got to watch. It may slow down East Anglia in the southeast. It could bring some very, very wet weather there. That's something we have to keep an eye on. And if we look at Thursday, although there's not a huge amount of difference in the overall pattern of the forecast for Thursday, what there is a discrepancy over exactly what happens to this rain area. Look, on each one it's slightly different, but it seems there's some quite high figures here, some quite high potential both on cluster 2 and cluster 1 for this heavy rain to come across southern and southeast England again. So at the moment I'm saying it's low confidence, but we need to watch for the potential of some heavy rain across southern areas through Wednesday and through Thursday. Then into the bank holiday weekend, the cluster's showing quite well the idea of this ridge trying to build into the south of the country. All of them going for that, so we have good confidence that that's how things may well turn out. And in fact, by Saturday, they're putting the rainfall across western parts of the country and keeping eastern areas drier under the area of high pressure you see here. However, it's what happens now that interests me. This is Sunday, and on Sunday you notice how we've got 30% going with the low pressure, 20% low pressure here. So we've got a 50% of low pressure over the country. We've got a 5% chance of a ridge coming in on a northwesterly, and a 45% chance of quite a slack pressure flow, but one that sees a weak area of low pressure in there as well. So the idea of a slack flow and some heavy showers on Sunday seems to be probable. And it could actually be fairly warm as well. But then we get to Monday. Just take a look at this. Now, stress, low confidence, huge question marks over whether this is the way this turns out. The models are all over the shop just at the moment. But cluster 1, high pressure, west of the UK, 50% of clusters doing this, bringing in a northerly, intensifies the precipitation across the south. Cluster 4, northerly coming in, high pressure off towards the west. We've now got 70% of the members going for the idea of a northerly. Cluster 2, north to northwesterly, adds another 15%, 85%. Cluster 3 goes for more of a southwesterly, keeps the risk lower. But what I'm trying to point out here is that that northerly flow for 85% of the model members of the GFS ensemble going for a cooler northerly flow, and then they try to keep that flow as well. Cluster 1, cluster 3, try to keep that flow in, and cluster 4. That's 35, 60, 80% of models of the members trying to go for that northerly. And in fact, it's still there in 45, 30, what's that? We've got 80% of models there again for next Wednesday, going with the idea of this north to northeasterly. You can kind of make a case for another 10% here. Now, normally I don't take a huge amount of notice of these. I mean, ensemble forecasting certainly increases the accuracy, but getting the detail is always quite difficult. And normally I wouldn't take much notice this far in advance of just this one model. However, because of what it's doing, because of the time of year, because it's going to the northerly with the high building, which of course is what we've suggested may well happen through September, was that we get that high built in at the beginning of the month. It's something that I'm keeping a very watchful eye on. And I kind of build this idea that the early part of September with that high idea is probably the way things are going to be shaping up. How long? Very difficult to point out at the moment. I'm just wondering if it may go up to the 10th or the 11th of the month. Okay, I shall leave you with that for now, but whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Hopefully that's of interest to you. We'll build on that story through the course of this week. But yeah, whatever you're doing, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.